Emily in Paris, the Netflix show directed by Darren Star that's now #2 in America on Netflix, has the charm of any rom-com filmed in a romanticized city and the glitz and glamour of a show following a young ingenue, one American girl, Emily Cooper, your standard successful, hustling millennial with a job in marketing who suddenly gets a job transfer from her firm in Chicago to their newly acquired French luxury marketing firm Devois, located in the heart of Paris. Throughout the series, Emily must learn to navigate through a city with both a language barrier and, as she will soon come to find, a cultural one as well. And all the while, as she becomes accustomed to her life in Paris, her online following surprisingly grows by the masses. The show is one that uses familiar themes and cliches that bring back the nostalgia of the soapy, light-hearted 2000s chick flicks and rom-coms. But it also takes into consideration the social, political climate of 2020 and explores the stark contrast between American and French culture, as well as the role of media in modern society. This show features iconic scenery, chic outfits in every setting, and is a successful, light and easy binge that hits all the targets that a show of this category and budget would hope to. However, the show has also received backlash from French critics who think that the image of Paris is ridiculously portrayed as a dreamy, fairy tale-esque land of fashion, romance, and croissants. And let's not get started on the minority side characters who barely contribute to the plot aside from assisting Emily. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look at our main character, Emily Cooper. She's the perfect embodiment of happy, healthy, young adult success in 2020. One who's in the process of establishing her life, living in big cities, navigating through the workplace drama, with a glamorous circle of well-connected friends who seem to pop out of nowhere, and hot French guys who double as chefs, and a bitchy boss rivalry. She goes on runs, butchers the French language, and constantly has friends and potential suitors thrown her way. She's enthusiastic about her career and tweets just about every sight she sees. She's like a magnetic force for good things and trouble, but of course it's the cute and quirky kind of trouble that somehow is resolved with her love interest randomly appearing to give her a hand. Somehow the show casts her as the awkward but charming and, dare I say, quirky underdog, despite constantly sporting designer and attracting new opportunities left and right with barely any effort. She's health-focused, fashion-forward, thin, rich, beautiful, entitled, uncultured, social media seasoned, and tech-savvy. So let's pause for a minute to look at the product placement in the show. The show opens on a clip of her wearing Nike, and she's running as we get a subtle flash of Lululemon. We constantly see Chanel, 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 and Apple AirPods and an iPhone. Her clothing is a striking part of the show's visuals and sends a message of a glamorous lifestyle which involves an influx of trending clothes from these big-name companies. Emily Cooper, now in France, has joined the marketing firm Devois with the purpose of bringing an American view on things, literally bringing America and an American vision into France. Keep in mind that Emily Cooper, even just from the sound of her name, embodies a standard American persona. We first see her taking a jog, health and fitness first, of course, and extra points for the fancy technology. And then we flash forward to a scene of her in her corporate office, and then a sports bar after work where we see her drinking beer.
Get a couple of beers here, please.
Oh, white wine, actually. Anything friendly, anything French if you have it.
Sorry, white wine. And cheering for the Chicago Cubs. Her character represents a new millennial American culture, but doing so is also in her job description. So not only is she already bringing an American culture to Paris through her presence, aura, personality, and mannerisms, but also her job as a marketer is to remember and highlight the perspective of an American consumer audience.
I don't take such a simplistic view of men and women. That's very American.
That's literally why I'm here.
Moreover, the character is consistently portrayed as culturally ignorant and often misinterprets French culture. Let's take a look at a few instances of this in the earlier episodes.
Jeremy, I just swapped off these bags, 5 flights. This is the 5th floor.
In France, first the ground floor, then the first floor, then the second floor, and so on.
That's weird. Oh my God, I feel like Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge. Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah.
Comment s'est passé le voyage, le nouvel appartement, tout ça?
You lost me a bonjour.
While in Paris, Emily immediately experiences a culture shock, but only makes shallow attempts to blend into French culture. Most of the time, however, she pokes holes in it and compares it to a more standard American view of things.
Steak is correct.
Well, correct for him, but not correct for me. Maybe you suggest you cook it longer?
Yeah, I'll take yours.
No.
You take mine.
Come on, the customer is always right. Well, maybe I'll educate the chef a little bit about customer service.
Think you're gonna change the entire French culture by sending back a steak?
We don't see her working hard. We rarely see her working at all. In fact, her ideas seem to be produced in a spontaneous manner and wind up being great successes. She spends most of her free time exploring famous attractions, wining and dining, and attending extravagant parties that she somehow stumbles upon. And all the while, her Twitter following grows exponentially as users seem to love her life through pictures. Is this realistic? Absolutely not, at least not for the large majority of people out there. Is it harmful? Not necessarily, though it does kind of perpetuate a fake kind of easy and smooth flowing life that millennials aspire to have. That simply isn't feasible, but if you can maintain the distinction between real life and a Netflix rom-com, then you should be fine. I actually think the show is entertaining in the way that it compares and contrasts different cultures, whether completely accurate or not. Viewing American culture with an outside party allows us to see how some parts of American culture that we are so used to are not popular opinions beyond our country's borders.
It's a balance.
Exactly, a balance. And I think the Americans have the wrong balance. You live to work. We work to live. Yes, it's good to make money, but what you say success, I say is punishment.
Tell me, what is wrong with the male gaze?
The men are objectifying her. I'm worried it won't translate in the States. In today's climate, it could come off as politically incorrect.
Chérie, I'm a woman, I'm not a feminist. But regardless, it's her dream to walk naked across the Pont Alexandre and have men want her. Maybe it's not your dream, Emily, but that's her dream.
We just need to be sensitive to the way women are thinking now. I want to protect your brand.
And we need to protect ourselves from the morality police.
I think it's almost satirical on both ends, slightly satirical of French culture and likewise American culture. Let's take a look at a few more things about this show so far. For one, the role that media, consumerism, and PR plays in this show. The show has so many references to media and consumption, as a show following a modern PR marketer should. But along with romanticizing the city of Paris, this show's use of characters in TV media shows how Emily, the American, sometimes lives life through a lens of what she knows only through media.
We from Chicago.
Gabriel, French, from Normandy.
Oh, I know that beach. Saving Private Ryan.
Oh my God, I feel like Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge.
Now, that thought isn't completely fleshed out, but let's keep it in the back of our minds as we keep watching. It might show us that American consumer culture, in this case the consumption of mass media, gives us a shared American view of outside places, thus limiting our knowledge and impression of authentic cultures and places. And then there's the presence of technology that we mostly only see through Emily and not through the other characters based in Paris. The role technology plays is almost Black Mirror-esque. Did anyone else pick up on that? For those of you guys who are unfamiliar with Black Mirror, it's a show that's also on Netflix that explores the relationships between humans and technology and usually displays our world in a dystopia-like state under the influence of technology gone too far. And the vibe I got from this show kind of felt like technology played a slightly intrusive role while showcasing how genuinity gets lost in translation when real life is uploaded to the internet. Another critique, if you look really deeply into this, is how the media causes a follower versus followed demographic. The influencer industry, anybody? When Emily posts a picture of a burger or a selfie, her following rises exponentially, and suddenly all eyes are watching a girl who they barely know. In our real world, doesn't this sound familiar as well? And how did she gain a following so easily? Well, I'm assuming her looks and the glamour of her life, a life that can't be achieved without money, plays a role. This is just a first look at Netflix's new show, halfway through the season. Nonetheless, these are the things that I picked up on so far, and let's see how the show and characters evolve as the season progresses. Comment down below and let's get a conversation started about this show. See you guys next time when we discuss the rest of Emily in Paris.